Beautiful people, welcome to the Dr. Joy Show, your prescription for total wellness, and I'm your host, Dr. Joy. Yeah, I know you see these bands, right? So you know that means we're doing a segment on fitness, right? But we're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about my guest. He's phenomenal. How he made a transition from where he was to where he is now, an owner of a fitness company, and it's flourishing. But you know what we're going to do? We don't start right away. We do 3 deep breaths to get everybody nice and calm, right? Are you ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. How do you feel? I know I feel great. I want to welcome Adam Goldberg to the Dr. Joy Show.
Thank you for having me on.
It's so great to see you. Yes, there's a little story here. I've known Adam since he was 5.
Yep.
And now look at you. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So you are certified NASM. Why don't you tell me about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a certified personal trainer through NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Right.
Titleist Performance Institute, level 1 and level 2.
Cool.
And then currently studying for my CSCS in strength and conditioning. But I'm also getting my master's in counseling. And I started my personal training company in State College, Pennsylvania, called MBI Fitness. Stands for Mind Body Integration.
Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that. I am so proud of you. So why fitness?
So fitness completely changed my life.
How?
I mean, you knew me as a young kid.
Yeah.
I was very fragile in stature, a little socially awkward. I had my academic struggles. You know, I was that kid that just had a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I went and tried to find a lot of ways to be normal like everybody else, because that's really what you want when you're younger. Not fitting in is just the thing that, you know, makes life tough. So, you know, I saw tons of people when it comes to seeing psychologists or other things to try and get me to feel comfortable in my own skin, just because fitting in just wasn't happening. It wasn't until high school where I got a personal trainer after I tried out for a football team and got my ribs cracked in practice because I was 95 pounds.
Oh my goodness. Now, why did you try out for the football team? I remember that day when I saw you on the field. I'm like, why is he there?
Yeah, so
this is not going to be good.
So you had the same inclination as my mom did, because, you know, I grew up with a Jewish mother, so they're like super caring. My dad's like, you know, son, go get him type of.
He was.
You got it. And, you know, I grew up a huge Penn State football fan, and I always thought, like, how cool would it be if I was ever able to play on that tean?
You're 4th generation Penn State, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mom, dad, brother, me.
Right.
Yep. And, you know, I was 95 pounds, and I got destroyed out there. So my parent, and I thought that was going to be my refuge. Like, you know, if I'm on the football team, I'm cool, that kind of thing. But it wasn't meant for me. And it was one of the best things that ever happened, because my parents took it upon themselves. They're like, you know what, we need to find something for him that's going to work.
Right.
And at the time, there was a personal trainer, personal training team that came into high school at the Hun School, which I went to with your son. And, you know, I got started in fitness there. And I was fortunate enough to have a trainer who had a PhD in psychology.
Oh, wow.
And you don't see that every day.
No.
But his methodology was different. You know, I'm used to sitting down with a psychologist or a counselor, and they just talk to you. Whereas when I'm training with him, it was like we had purpose to why we were exercising. When I would go and exercise, it was teaching me how to become a little more mentally tough, because I quit everything. I was a great tennis player growing up, good at golf, good at soccer, but I kept quitting when it got hard.
Aww.
And it's because I was so scared to fail. And, you know, people in high school, that's probably the biggest reason why people struggle growing up, is we're told, you know, you can't do bad in school.
Right.
You can't do these things. And they have this fear that, you know, what happens if I fail a test? Are my parents going to get mad at me? Am I not going to go to the college that I want to go to? So much pressure for people that are that young. And what fitness really taught me was, in the gym, failure's okay. we actually go for muscular failure. So when you're practicing that constantly, it starts to come into your like whole life. So that kid that was struggling academically, socially, started to gain some confidence, put on some muscle, gain self-esteem, and I started to take that same work ethic into my academics. And I got into Penn State University, which my college counselor said that's a huge reach because I was a C student freshman year of high school. And I just firmly believe that we need to have more action in our lives than just talking about it, because anybody can talk.
So you attribute your sessions with your personal trainer at the Hun School of Princeton, that is, to transforming your life to where you are right now.
I credit a lot of it to it, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And I know we talked a little bit in the green room, and I kind of knew a little bit about this, but you were bullied as a child as well.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're smaller than other people, you're socially awkward.
And didn't have any backup. You didn't have brothers or sisters, right?
Much older than me. So, it was more, even when you wanted to try and fit in, I was a kid who already was kind of predisposed to getting offended by something, or you could get under my skin very easily when I was younger.
Okay.
That's different now, but then that was just what it was. So I wanted to do everything to fit in, and I was just lucky that I had a good support system of my parents, who were both very inspirational.
Right.
And to stumble upon a personal trainer who had a PhD, that brought that fusion to my life. So it's just it's something that I want to start bringing to other people.
So how do you define fitness?
So in terms of fitness, I think a lot of people have this misconception that it's just about how good you look.
Exactly.
Which, if your goal is to look good, that's fine. That's your goal. I'm not going to tell you what your goal should be.
Right.
If you want to be a bodybuilder, be my guest, because everybody can have a goal and that means something to them. But to me, fitness is about your total wellness. How do you feel mentally? How do you feel physically? Is what you're doing today going to affect you 30 years from now? And how is that going to do it?
Exactly.
Is your nutrition good? Fitness is not just about going and running on the treadmill or lifting the most amount of weight. It's about improving who you are as a person.
Now, you know that in today's society, we have this word called stress.
Oh, absolutely.
Oof. And talk a little bit about how mind-body integration can help with reducing stress.
Yeah, so in terms of exercise, there's been a million studies done on how exercise can make you feel great afterwards. You get that high. People talk about the endorphin rush afterwards. But one of the main things that happens is we produce a protein called BDNF, which is brain driven neurotrophic factor. And what that does is it's like when you get a fight or flight in exercise. You're challenging yourself. You're really trying to push yourself to be better. Your body is feeling stress. Exercise is stress. And what it will do is you'll produce that protein, you'll produce the endorphins, and it's really just a protection for your body. So when you're done with that stress, you're still feeling that high. You feel good, which is why people who have depression, they're always recommended to go exercise.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to bring. I'm trying to bring that psychological factor to the fitness that people just kind of leave it there. They don't actually try to target it, and that's what I'm trying to do.
And you're trying to make it fun too.
Oh, absolutely.
See, because the wellness guru, Dr. Deepak Chopra, right? You know what he says? He advises on 7 mind-body practices to transform your relationship with stress. One is meditate.
Yep.
The other one is resolve the stressful situation through external communication, whether it's with people that are in your personal life, or if for whatever reason you need to seek professional help, that would be included. Practice mindful awareness of your body, so being in tune with your body to know. That's big. Yeah, but how though? How do you do that?
So that's one of the things I really preach is mindfulness through exercise. And, it kind of goes back to Buddhism and meditation. Some people feel like they have this thought that meditation means you just go and sit down and do nothing and you just try to clear your thoughts. but you can do active meditation throughout the day.
Define that.
And when I say active meditation, I mean you could be driving to work and you're starting to get the stress of driving down the Garden State Parkway, which everybody knows is stressful.
Oh, yes.
And you can start to control your thoughts, detach yourself from that stress. And I read a book from a Buddhist monk, and basically he was talking about this practice. And what he would tell you to do is take a deep breath in, like you do in the beginning of your sessions, and tell yourself, I'm here for myself. And then when you breathe out, you're saying, I accept the fact that I'm stressed about whatever, and then you breathe out and you smile. And it's amazing how much a smile can change the way you feel.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so mindfulness, that's just a meditation. When you get into actual exercise, you should have a purpose to what you're doing. Like movement itself clears the mind. And that's the non-scientific way of saying that exercise can relieve stress. When you're moving, you're thinking about what your body is doing and not about what you got to do when you go to work at 7 o'clock.
That is true, but now I'm going to personalize it. I know that when I'm running my 3 miles, I do get a high at them, but I also think about some of the other things. I get creative.
Yeah.
The creativity comes out when I exercise.
Yep.
That's weird, isn't it?
No, but it's all a part of exercise. There's studies done to say that exercise improves critical thinking, executive functioning. So I mean, what you're experiencing is just another side effect of exercise.
So, in continuing what Dr. Chopra would say, he says also understand your unique response.
Yeah.
And then get plenty of sleep. Talk about sleep.
I mean, sleep's incredibly important. I mean, if you're up all the time, or if you're getting up in the middle of the night and doing a lot of stuff, you're not getting your REM sleep.
Right.
Your body is not going to be regenerated for the next day.
Right.
There's been studies done by psychologists on sleep, and they studied truck drivers, and they were basically putting them on different like prescriptions of sleep. And what would happen is some of the drivers would be sleeping a lot less, and then they would go and drive, and then some would be sleeping more. And what they started to realize is, just like anything else, like filling up a gas tank and driving, your body almost has a gas tank of sleep. If you oversleep, you start to get stores of sleep, kind of.
Right.
And then if you undersleep, you're kind of just prolonging that problem that you're having. So if you sleep 6 hours one day, and then you go and sleep 10 hours the next, you're kind of bringing yourself back to equilibrium.
I know in my studies too, I read that sleep is the only natural way to recharge your body. So it is crucial. It's paramount.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that there should be, you can tell if your body has gotten enough rest.
Yeah.
And that's without the use of an alarm clock. Have you heard about that?
I would love to say that I don't use an alarm clock, but
I don't use one.
my dad doesn't either, believe it or not.
Yeah, so he awakens when his body is ready to
Well, he
to
has
get
this
up.
weird thing, and he tries to tell me this, and I'm like, there's no way it would work for me. But for ages, like, he's just kind of told himself, you know what, but right before he goes to sleep, I'm going to wake up at this time.
Oh.
And no matter what it is, he'll wake up at that time. And I don't know how he does it.
You see my face?
Yeah.
I haven't done that, but I just know that I do awaken when I'm ready to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, wow. And it works for him, huh?
It does, yeah.
Oh, good.
It's at 5:30 every morning.
Wow.
Yep.
So does he practice yoga? Because that's number 6.
Actually,
that's number
he
6 for
lives,
Deepak Chopra.
lives by it. So,
He does.
So my dad actually, and he's been arguably the biggest inspiration to my life. He was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when he was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
And they didn't tell him until he was 29, I believe. So he went 16 years without actually knowing.
Wow.
And don't ask me why, but he's gone blind before. He's lost function in his limbs before. Just the typical things that MS can do to you.
He has a strong constitution because your daddy was I'm assuming he's retired now. He was extremely successful in financial services.
Yeah, I mean, he still works, yeah.
Oh, he still does. Okay.
Yeah, but,
so let me take that back.
Yeah,
but I knew that he
and
was pretty prominent in that arena.
And it's his approach to to life. He had people tell him, "You can't do this because you have MS. You can't you'll never see again. You'll never be able to play tennis. You'll never be able to work a full-time job. And look at him now. He's 68 years old, has worked a full-time job for almost his entire life.
Yeah, long time.
He regained his vision back, which is, it's just a part of the symptoms, but he never complained.
That's true.
Which, people can always ask, why me? But he just works out every day, does yoga every day, like you were going to mention, and, he's just a spiritual person and lets exercise kind of guide his health.
And he probably does this other, the last element in Deepak Chopra's 7 elements, which is do the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
So it's all about encompassing all of those wellness elements.
Absolutely.
Doing the things that you love so that will help you reduce the stress.
Yeah.
Right? So, but out of the wellness elements, I mean, this is something that I think, and I've talked about it a lot, I would say that mental wellness leads the pack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because your mind controls your thoughts, control your feelings control your actions have results.
Oh, absolutely. And,
right?
And that's what I was actually going to talk to you about is, we live life through cause and effect.
Yes.
Our decisions that we make end up having a consequence, positive or negative, and then we think about the next thing we're going to do.
Right.
And if we're programming ourselves through exercise to not run away from like a tough thing that's going to happen in life, we can actually become better at making those decisions when adversity comes because we've practiced it.
Right.
And then when we make those decisions, they're positive. So when I look at the way, mental health professionals try to, coach people through life, if they do that, it's more about self-awareness. But, they might say, you should go exercise. But then where do they go?
Where do they go? Where's the motivation?
Exactly. So they'll say, oh, exercise is good. But,
okay,
so what happens now? And that's where I'm trying to change that. My business is mind-body integration. I'm studying for my master's in counseling, and I'd like to be able to counsel people and then also train them so that, we're having that exposure therapy. We find out what those things are that makes them tick.
Right.
And then we use that exercise to create a purpose.
Wow.
And, when you start to go through that over and over again, you see change. So going and talking to a psychologist can do a lot for you. It's great. You learn about yourself. But what I want to do is take that next step into, we're getting you physically fit, but we're also
mentally
making
preparing.
Existential changes in your life.
Good for you. So you're putting it together as a hand and glove fit.
Yes.
It's the perfect combination.
Absolutely. I think so.
Wow. So when you say corrective exercise, define that.
Okay, so we have muscle imbalances in our body. Everybody gets them. And basically, I got a certification in corrective exercise. So when I use that with people, it's not necessarily about just, let's get them to do a different movement. We're trying to correct those muscle imbalances so that they're more synergistic. So if you're going to do an exercise and your muscles are off, you're going to see your body start to do different things because our bodies like to take the easiest path to do something that's natural.
Right.
But what we want to do is we want to change that pattern to do something else. So that can include foam rolling, which a lot of people have been hearing about. And that's kind of like self-massage.
Right.
You're inhibiting a muscle. Then you might want to lengthen it, so stretching.
Well, stretching is key no matter what, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the most boring part. I'm sorry.
It is.
It is, but it's paramount.
And foam rolling is not comfortable. If you've ever gotten a massage when your muscles are tight, it doesn't feel good.
No, it does not. Ooh. But it's necessary because it loosens, it pushes that lactic acid out.
Yeah. And,
yes.
And then once you've inhibited, you lengthened the muscles, now you want to activate them. So you might take that muscle that's been underactive.
Right.
And you start to activate it. So doing something that's, isolated, isometric, so you're just holding something with that muscle.
And that's tough too.
Yeah, and now that you've developed that strength back in that muscle to be even with the other one, then you can go and integrate it. So you'll start doing movements that use multiple muscles in your body so that it starts working together. And that's kind of the premise behind corrective exercise.
So does everyone need corrective exercise?
I think everybody can use it.
Okay.
at some point or another in your life, you're going to feel that ache or pain, and something caused it. And it's generally not because that spot is what caused it. So like if I have a pain in my back, it's probably not just that spot in my back that's hurting. It's probably because, maybe I have an undertrained glute medius that's stabilizing my hip. And, you can go and massage that knot out all you want, but if you're walking around and you're not like synergistic with your muscles,
right,
it's just going to happen again and again.
Okay. So that element there, I mean, it should be there.
It should,
is
absolutely.
what you're saying. So let's talk about social media.
Yep.
Every time you Instagram, Twitter, now I'm only on 3, okay?
Yep.
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are the 3 social media platforms that I'm on. Now, of course, I'm on LinkedIn too, but that's professional.
Yep.
Fitness. Everybody is doing it.
Yep.
People are selfies. Look at me. I lost 50 pounds. Or look at me. You never see anybody say, look at me, I gained the weight.
Oh, no.
No. It's never, it's never to that side. It's always, look what I've done.
Yep.
So talk about that. How does that impact the evolution on fitness?
Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up because we're in an era where social media has become, the number one thing in terms of marketing yourself.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, fitness models pop up everywhere. They're showing themselves working out. They're doing all that stuff, which I find to be great in the sense that, we're promoting getting moving because if you don't move, you die. And that's the way I feel.
That's right.
So, that's the good part about it. Then there's also the drawbacks to it. People always want to find out what they should be doing. So if you go on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, you're getting a very visual marketing perception right there.
Right.
You're seeing what people look like, and if you see them do an exercise, you're like, oh, well, I want to look like that, so I'll do that too.
But you don't know what else they're doing, though. That's only like one little microcosm of their, day.
And, we just talked about corrective exercise.
Right.
You can look like the most fit person in the world, but off camera, you don't know what they're feeling.
That's right.
They could have, slipped discs. They could have all sorts of injuries going on.
Yes.
And they'll go on Instagram, they'll post their video, and people will be like, yeah, I want to do that too. And, I'm all about movement. Like, do it. I don't care what you choose to do. As long as you're moving, that's great. But then if you're actually starting to really want to get into what's best for me,
right,
that's where you should seek professional help.
I'm so glad you said that. I am so glad.
Yep.
But do you see that the people that post, do those, share their experiences with social media, are they mostly professionals, or are they just, this is what I've done today?
I think it's both.
Okay.
You'll get a lot of people who could be certified or,
right,
could have tons of experience. They work as a personal trainer full time. But you also get people, who just started working out. They look good. They realize, okay, I can profit off of Instagram. I have 12 million followers because I look like this, and I'll take selfies of myself. And then because they realize there's profit there, they'll create their website. They'll be like, oh, try my workout programs.
Yeah, come out with a DVD.
Yeah, exactly.
CD. Right.
And you know what? It's easier to access than it used to be. You don't need to buy a DVD anymore because it's all right there. It's free.
True. And it's on YouTube.
Yep. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. It's the new TV.
Wow. So talk to me about, talk to me and share some advice on what you would do for a person that's just starting to work out, that's just starting with fitness.
Yeah. So,
the physical part and the mental part.
Yeah, so whenever someone comes to see me for personal training, I always offer them a complimentary assessment because, the most important thing for me to know is that they're realizing that I'm taking a vested interest in them. I want to know how they move. I want to know what their nutrition's like, what their lifestyle's like, their medical history, injury history. I'll look at their body stats, all these different things, and it takes an hour to an hour and a half. But I want them to know that I'm caring about what they do. And I'll take all that information and I'll put it into their program so that it's completely individualized. Versus going on Instagram or Snapchat and kind of just looking and picking exercises. For a beginner, I think that's just so important to get an assessment done
Right.
from someone who's actually going to watch you move, because some people don't do that. But
Really?
yeah, you'll be surprised. You know, a lot of times you'll go to a place, they'll kind of just go over your injury history, all that kind of stuff, and then they don't watch you move before they give you a program.
Right.
Which is like, you know, throwing something at the wind.
Right.
You know, you want to make sure that your trainer is taking their time to look at everything about you, because otherwise, how are they going to know what to give you your first day?
That is true. So you do a complete 360-degree assessment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. So do you work on the mind? Well, I guess you will be working the mental aspect because you're embarking on the counseling.
So when I do the assessment, when I said I ask lifestyle questions, you know, that's where I kind of ask, do you feel exercise helps with your stress?
Right.
How do you feel you respond to adversity? That's one of those questions that I find interesting because, you know, you ask 90% of people like that, oh, I'm good. You know, I got this.
They
and
are
then,
not telling the truth.
Yep. And then that's why on their first session, I'll put in an exercise that, you know, maybe I'll take the movement out of it so that they have to think about every thought that goes through their head while they're doing it.
Right.
And you know what? If I tell them the plank and I'll just say, I'm not going to tell you how much time we're going to do. I'll let you know when we're done. You're just going to hold that. And, you know, I have a time in my head. It's not going to be crazy.
Right.
But I like to see what people go through with their thought process. You'll get people who be like, how much longer? That tells me something because one, if you're already asking about how much longer,
that means you're struggling.
You're thinking negative thoughts in your head.
That's
when
true.
is this going to be over? If they just drop and quit without saying anything, that's their first instinct to adversity. I'm going to quit when something gets hard.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that's where you take exercise and make it psychological without them even knowing it.
Right.
And then I'll do that every now and then. It's not something completely like ingrained in the program, but it's amazing when you see the change of that. So it's interesting when you do it that way.
Excellent. Final thoughts. Any tips for the viewers?
Yeah, so in terms of fitness, you know, I want to stress this to everybody. We get the New Year's resolutioners. We get the people who come in May to get their summer body six-pack abs.
Oh, yes.
And the one thing I would say to those people is that the days where you don't want to go to the gym are the days that you probably should be there, because when you go on days you don't want to go, that's where the results are made. And you're training your body, you're training your mind to become more resilient, and you'll just be proud of yourself for doing it. So I encourage everybody to go engage in that movement, enjoy a healthier lifestyle, and then you get to go to the beach with a better six-pack than you would have had before.
And you feel much better for yourself.
Absolutely.
Adam, where can people reach you?
Yeah, so you can reach me on my website, www.mbifitness.com. My email address is adam@mbifitness.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook,
Twitter.
Yeah, not Twitter. I don't do Twitter just because it's not so visual,
right?
And I want people to see things. But yeah, so I'm on pretty much every social media platform except Twitter.
Okay, that's
so
all right.
So people can find me, and I post a blog. I try to do that as much as I can, but I'm busy and, you know, doing...
Where's your blog? Is it on your website?
It's on my website.
Okay.
Yep. So, you know, I have some blog articles on there from a little while ago. I want to get back into it. But you can imagine owning a business, being a master's student, you know, it's a lot of time.
Well, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Dr. Joy Show. And Adam, let me just tell you, I am so proud of you.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Oh, my goodness. It warms my heart. Until next time, make sure you take care of yourself first. So get that exercise in. Yes, it's the big E word, exercise. Be blessed. Stay healthy. See ya.